Spring city leaders are considering the impact of plastic during tomorrow's commission meeting. TV 20's Zetlali Solache tells us how restaurant employees are reacting to a possible plastic ban.
These could become a thing of the past in High Springs. Commissioners plan to discuss a request to ban plastic straws in carry-out containers in Thursday's meeting.
This was brought to our attention by about a dozen or so residents in the community. They sent an email back in January requesting that the commission at least have a discussion about it.
Some residents are asking for the banning of these two products because they say pollution harms nearby springs and wildlife. Some restaurant employees like Josh Cook say a ban may be a step in the right direction.
It's going to be a little getting used to stage for all of us. I mean, if we really want to do something and, try to give back to Mother Earth because she gives so much to us, I feel like we have to do something.
Cook says the Great Outdoors restaurant has already taken the initiative to reduce their carbon footprint with these straws. He says they are biodegradable and an alternative to plastic straws.
We've actually tried to experiment with other boxes and stuff. I feel like sometimes they don't always hold up if you have to go take a 30-minute drive. And I mean, the plastic has just been a standard for so long.
Cook says they use about 300 to 400 containers a week. He says although eco-friendly containers may be pricier, it's a sacrifice the business is willing to make.
Of course, there's going to be people that don't want it, and there's going to be people that are really wanting to push for it. So if we can all come together and, just find something that works for all of us, I'm all for that.
Cook says the pricing of biodegradable containers may affect mom-and-pop businesses in the city. Commissioners meet at City Hall Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Zetlali Solache, TV 20 News.